partners. Welcome to my buddy's Backlog. Come on in here and grab yourself a seat.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the very first official episode of My Buddy's Backlog. This is just a casual gaming show with three friends who realize that as our free time is dwindling, our backlogs keep growing. My name is Gavin, and I'm joined here by co-host Ryan.
Hey there, I'm Ryan, and with our limited free time, we thought it was a smart idea to try to carve out an hour every single week to talk about gaming news, our growing backlogs, and what we're excited about in the future. To round out our trio, we've got Matt here.
Hey, I'm Matt. So, yeah, instead of just aggregating all the news and spouting news for the whole hour, we wanted to bring something a little more unique with that. So, we won't spend too much time on news, but we will spend a lot of time talking about what we're playing, what we're hyped for. Then we're going to do special segments focusing on lore, lists, deep dives into kind of different endeavors. And then the final piece of every podcast is going to be one of the crew members here bringing a backlog item forward, which can be a game that they never got a chance to play, a game that they maybe picked up and have put down because something else came out or life's duties called them elsewhere. Or just even a game that you've missed. Maybe you had no interest in Kingdom Hearts, but maybe you bring it to the table because you want to force the others to talk about it to see if it's worth your time and investment. So with that, we appreciate you kind of being here with us today, and here we go.
Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get right on with the news. So, headline story this week, guys, it's got to be the Ocarina of Time remake. Maybe not officially announced, but there's a lot of credible leaks that seem to indicate this is happening. So, how are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this if it's true. I think I saw that the guy who leaked it, or the main one, his name is like Nate the Hate. I've never heard of him before. Do you guys know him?
Yeah,
is he leaked?
I don't know if he's like reputable Nintendo leaker,
Okay.
but I do know he's a reputable leaker for sure.
Okay.
So,
Well, regardless, if it's true, I am extremely excited. Did you guys both play Ocarina of Time?
oh yeah, for sure. So, I mean, 64 is right in the middle of peak childhood. I didn't have a 64 until several years later. I was a Banjo-Kazooie guy, unpopular opinion, and not a huge Zelda guy for a long time. And then I went back and played Zeldas probably mid to late teens, actually. So, like Ocarina of Time is not even probably in my top 3 Zelda games, which is already probably a hot take.
Interesting.
But I am excited for some of the things they're probably going to fix, like the notorious water temple stuff, and just controls become antiquated, right? Over 20 years later.
Yeah, the controls are rough. I went back and I was playing an emulator the other day, and it's kind of surprising. Do we know, well, I guess we don't know anything, but did the leak say they're trying to implement the newer Breath of the Wild style like gameplay or anything, or do we know anything like that?
I don't think we know that yet.
Yeah, I don't think there's any details like that. I mean, that game is so sacred. It's not like it's going to become an open world game. And
Right,
there wasn't
right.
a ton of like weapons from that perspective with like weapon degradation. That's like a lot of
That one didn't
Yeah.
have the weapon degradation? Oh, good. I hate that shit.
No, it
which is
did
like
not,
a big right. It's a
yeah.
make or break thing. For
I
a lot
am
of
not a
people.
big fan of the weapon degradation system.
It's a little
yeah.
too brutal in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I think. But
Yeah.
anyways, but apparently it's supposed to be this year because this is the 40th anniversary as well this year, 2026, of The Legend of Zelda, that franchise. So it
Gotcha.
would make sense for a heavy hitter to come out, and it's definitely too early for like the next Tears, Breath of the Wild style open world game. So the other thing that it does mention, right, is that Star Fox remake, whether it's going to be like a remake of original, a reboot, whatever. They did confirm also, and they put the posters out, and Star Fox is in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which was like a big like what the hell thing for a lot of people. So he's not super popular amongst Nintendo people. So it would be cool to see a new Star Fox game. Star Fox. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. It's pretty well even split, honestly.
I really only played Star Fox 64. Did you guys play that one, or have you played what other ones have you played? I guess.
So I've done Star Fox 1, 64. I can't remember if it was actually called Zero, if there was another one before. It was one of the Wii U ones, which I think was Zero, which is a pretty fun game. It's just Wii U gamepad forced thing kind of situation. And then I've played Star Fox 2, which was only so Star Fox 1 was a Super Nintendo game. Star Fox 2 was never released until within the last 10 years when they released that Super Nintendo Classic. It never actually released. They still had the files and everything, so they released it on that. So that was the only way to play it for a while. And then obviously people took the ROMs. It's all online now. You can do, emulation of it and play it that way, but it never had like an actual cartridge to my knowledge.
Gotcha.
So, but it's very level based. You fly through with your ship and achieve missions. Oh, that's the other one, the GameCube one, Star Fox Adventures. I've played that one.
I played that one a bit.
Cool premise, not executed well kind
Right.
of deal, because they try to like add melee combat and stuff. I think if you're going to try to have them out of their ships, it's probably more of third person Star Wars Battlefront style gameplay would be better.
Right.
But who knows?
I think I saw this new one's supposed to have. I think I saw a little bit more that it's supposed to be a classic. Or no, I saw that it was supposed to have multiplayer at least, like online multiplayer. And I think it was level based, or I thought I read something about it being like a campaign, but I don't know.
Gavin, what say you? I know Nintendo's probably your bigger blind spot.
It is probably my biggest blind spot. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like have a Nintendo console growing up. The first console I ever played was an N64. It was my cousin's, but I would go over there and we'd play the shit out of like Mario 64 and also Pokemon Stadium. At some point, man, I played a lot of that game, but I don't really have like sentient memories of really playing like the early Zelda games.
That's fair.
I tried Breath of the Wild a few years ago on Switch, kind of bounced off it. I see what they're doing, but it wasn't really for me. So that said, I would be really curious to try out the Ocarina of Time remake, especially if you want to let me borrow your Switch too.
No problem. I got you.
Right on. Okay, well, we'll all be looking forward to that. So another big headline this week, or in recent weeks, is the Elden Ring movie. It seems like it's really happening, and and to that point, we actually saw photos leak of what appeared to be like a Statue of America, Site of Grace kind of a bit of set that actually looked pretty good. Looked to me a lot like it looked a lot like the in-game iconography. So hopefully that means they're being kind of true to the source material. That said, it's Alex Garland directing this movie. I don't know if you guys have seen any of his stuff. It's a bit of a curveball. So I'm not sure how.
What are some of the movies?
He's done Civil War. Did you see that a few years ago?
I did not. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else has he done? Oh, there's a sci-fi movie with Natalie Portman, Annihilation.
Oh, okay.
I did really like
see
that
one.
movie.
Yeah.
But it's just I guess I don't know who I would have pegged for this, but we'll see. How are you guys feeling about this as a concept? And
I also thought the photos that we saw, they looked very good, very much like the in-game churches. I think it's the churches where you get like the flask upgrades essentially. And I mean, it was really true to the game. I feel like I don't really understand as a concept what the story will be, or
right.
how that translates into a narrative. Like, I know I'm not the biggest Elden Ring lore guy, I guess, but I know there's story and background and everything, but I have a hard time picturing that as a full movie narrative. But what do you think, Matt?
Video game movie adaptations, I guess that's kind of what I think. Is there been more than like 2 good ones ever, and the decent ones are animated, right? To that point, I guess I liked seeing the Church of America and how good it looked, just because I am always going to be a pro practical effects versus just CGI out of room or something. So I mean, obviously, that's also saying there's going to have to be a lot of that given that world if they're going to go for fighting like creatures, or if we're going to see certain bosses, right? Just because of the scale of those types of things.
Right.
So that's cool, but I don't know what the hell the story is. Is it just going to be like following a soldier in like Radon or Melania's army before their big battle? Like the Churches of America have already clearly fallen and are dilapidated at some point.
right, it's clearly like
world.
Post-Shattering, right?
Yeah.
So you wonder, is it just going to be the story of the Tarnished, like going and like, hey Godric, fuck you, I'm gonna take your shard, and
that's what my mind
I think that would
went
be pretty
to.
boring, to be honest. I would rather what you're saying, like let's see the Radon Melania conflict. That would be fun.
Yeah, you kind of sold me on it when you started saying that.
yeah.
It's like, that
Well,
sounds
I like
pretty
that.
cool.
I'm
I don't
taking
know.
job offers. My directorial debut, I guess. But yeah, like so I don't know what it's gonna be. It's just gonna be a dude going into rooms and getting the shit beat out of him 4 or 5 times. So he goes back in and beats the creature.
I'm
And
just gonna watch 20 fights in a row, back to back.
it's actually just a fucking loathsome dung eater movie where we just follow that sad, disgusting piece of shit around.
He just backtracks into the world and finds that all the NPCs you talk to are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So I don't have high hopes for it because of the skill of the type of game it is. Even really kind of tight games that have been adapted to movies have been so poorly adapted. I know we have different directors constantly. I mean, you can look around my room and know much about me. Resident Evil is my bread and butter, and it's got like more video game movies than any other franchise, and all of them suck.
Yeah.
Some just suck less than others that I can call them good compared to the 7 other movies or whatever, right? So
That's true. That's been true historically, but I feel like the appetite for these adaptations has definitely gone up. We've seen the
agree
big
with that,
Netflix and Amazon productions. I mean, HBO's The Last of Us I thought was really, really good.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure what the budget is on this thing. The fact that From Software themselves, like they had to have given the green light because they own the IP on this, which I think is really interesting. Because you would see this and almost expect, oh, well, did the publisher just kind of sell the rights to a movie studio? But
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, they had to have gotten From Software's approval, so hopefully that indicates some buy-in.
Yeah, that's fair. So maybe Miyazaki will show up in it. At
Dude,
the
I hope
end,
so.
Oh, man,
the
that post-credit
tarnished main character
scene.
takes the helmet
He's
off.
actually the dung eater. Yeah.
And he takes the helmet off, and then he puts on a Bloodborne cap, and he just looks at the camera, like raises his eyebrows, and then it plays like the Cleric Beasts theme and fades out.
You should be accepting job applications.
I'm just building hype trailers from now on. Podcast is over after episode 1.
Well, whether it crashes or burns, we'll be at the midnight release for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next up on our agenda, Pearl Abyss is patching Crimson Desert a lot, so they're kind of putting their money where their mouth is, saying, hey, we want to make the base game really good. Apparently, they've patched out all the Gen AI, or at least all the Gen AI that people found, so it's a bit of a success story for the launch of this game. I haven't played it, but I know that, Matt, you've had a lot of thoughts about this game.
Yeah, so there's so much about this game that looks so cool. Like, right, big open world, swords stabbing people, you know. But apparently at the same time, right, there's like no story. It makes no sense. Your character dies right at the first cutscene, and then he's just alive again. And I don't know. I haven't dug into it a lot, but like seeing the speed at which they're patching things, which it does make sense right there. Like their MMO is their pedigree, right? So addressing little hot fixes and fixing things pretty fast, like they're kind of probably used to that quicker than a traditional single player studio would be, I would imagine. So it makes sense, but they're like doing stuff that like players complained about. Like apparently the player character moves very moved very sluggish.
Yeah.
The way stamina was consumed with like gliding or some of the things I've seen. So and like I said, the game looks cool. I mean, I can ride a dragon, but also I can get a jetpack and fly and fight in a mech like a steampunk dude. I don't know. So there's so much that looks cool. The Gen AI stuff like pissed me off. I was glad I didn't buy it. From that perspective, I appreciate them owning up on it, and then I also have to like acknowledge it's going to seep in. If I'm going to be mad at them, I got to be mad at other companies to some degree too.
Well, it's about the
Right.
disclosure piece, right? I
Yeah.
think Steam's policy, you've said in the past, it just makes sense, right? Let me know what I'm getting up front.
That's what I had seen too, though, about like what they're patching. I from what I saw in the articles, it seems like they're really addressing specifically like player concerns. They're really being receptive to that quick turnaround time. And then I saw the newest patch. I was reading the patch notes, and I guess they updated the movement system, like you were saying. And then in this most recent release, they added a toggle to go back to the old movement system because some people liked it the other way.
So one of the specific things I saw about the movement is you guys have all at least played a Rockstar game, right?
Yes.
Even if you haven't beat one.
Yeah.
You know how you have to like tap to sprint?
Right.
That's like the way it was by default.
Huh.
Then they changed
Hate
it
that.
to hold to sprint.
Wow.
And now they've changed it to where it's tap to sprint, but you can toggle it to the hold to sprint or something like that.
Okay.
So like just stuff like that, and like Rockstar games, right? Your character just has weird weighty movement too.
It's so
But they
weighty,
said it was like
yeah.
more weighty than like Red Dead 2 was,
Wow.
or something like that. So
It's a weird thing, right? Like, I guess some people would see the patch cadence and the responsiveness as just a kind of unmitigated good, but you do kind of wonder, is there a certain vision there that's maybe being compromised, and maybe you say, well, there's a toggle, so you can play it your way. I just can't imagine, if FromSoft dropped Dark Souls 1 today and, listen to all the player feedback, what would the patch notes look like on that?
I mean,
Fixed an issue where a player accidentally stumbled into the Tomb of the Giants.
They would have to erase all of fucking Sin's Fortress. I hate that goddamn place.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
it's kind of part of the journey, right?
Right. So you
So
don't want to patch
it's
all
fucking
player
Nightmare
complaints.
Takeshi's
Depends on the
Castle.
game, you
Yeah.
know.
So I don't know. Haven't played that one, but I'm curious to see how it shakes out. Next up, we've got potential Uncharted teaser and also relatedly another Naughty Dog potential tease from Neil Druckmann on maybe The Last of Us 3 ? He kind of put some cryptic comments out. What do you guys think about that?
So it makes sense, right? Druckmann has been on record before saying there's more to there's at least one more story here. Which have you two played The Last of Us 1 and 2 to completion?
Only one for me.
Only one.
I've
So-
seen like spoilers of big key points in 2, but I have not played the entirety of it.
So like everyone pretty much agrees like 1 is like a masterpiece. I've not really met many people that don't agree with that. 2 is divisive as shit. Like like really divisive.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I'm cool with the decision they make in the beginning of that game. It makes sense.
Right.
I know some people even just didn't like it from like the torture porn kind of perspective because it is very brutal game and like some stuff is just like hard to watch if you're just like kind of queasy to that because of like the fidelity piece that Naughty Dog puts into things. But all that to say, the point of this is like, yeah, I think it's true. I think they're probably working on multiple games. Well, but at the same time, I got to remember they just had Factions canceled, the online multiplayer piece that they've been working on. Apparently, it was like 80% done. So there's also been a lot of wasted time. I don't know if the 2 games they were working on were the Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophecy, or whatever that title is, and Factions, or if it was 3 games technically, because there's the 2 single-player games and a multiplayer piece. I don't know what that looks like, right? And I don't think anyone technically does except for them.
It's almost like somebody knew at Sony, and maybe they have. I haven't followed the politics, but it's almost like somebody came in and said, "All right, fuck it, we're not doing any live service."
Yeah, that's fair too, because that's not been going well for them. Did you have something, Ryan?
Well, I was going to ask about the Factions thing because I don't really know what you're talking about. That's it in the Last of Us universe. It was going to be a multiplayer game.
Yeah, in the original Last of Us, there was the Last of Us Factions.
I played that.
Tied in.
Right.
They were just trying to make a single bundled multiplayer.
Okay,
component, gotcha. Based off of that exact formula.
Okay, I see.
It just
Gotcha.
kind of never happened. The Uncharted piece. I think we would get Uncharted 5 or the next Uncharted before we'll get anything else. Again, where's everybody at with their Uncharted level of play / what they've experienced?
I have never played a single one. Yeah, I'm very inexperienced.
I played the first one, and it was one of those where I didn't play it until recently because I wasn't a Sony guy. I wasn't a PlayStation guy growing up really. So I played them later than everybody else. And I liked the first one all right, but to me it was just a good game. It didn't like move the needle for me.
Yeah. So first game's probably a 7-ish out of 10 if you're a score person, and then the second one's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Third one's around a 8, 9. Fourth one's around like a 9. Some people would call it their favorite.
Okay.
Then there's a handheld one called Golden Abyss for the PlayStation Vita. It was actually developed by Ben Studio, which is the studio who made Siphon Filter and did Days Gone. Anyways, all that to say, very minor spoiler, but essentially the name of Uncharted 4 is A Thief's End, and highlighting that like it's time for them to wrap it up. So it shows that Nathan Drake, the main character, and his wife Elena, they have a child. It like fast forwards and she's like 12 or 13. She might be a little bit older at the end of that. So that's what everybody thinks is like the next game is going to be her.
Oh,
and
that would
what
make
that's gonna
sense.
look like. Is it going to be the stereotypical she gets into dad's business behind dad's back and then dad has to go help her but not play as her, right? Support her because they're in this terrible situation. I don't know, is dad going to get kidnapped and she's got to pick it up? I think her name's Cassie Drake or something. Cassidy, something, one of those two.
Gotcha.
It makes the most sense, I think, for that to be next. I'm shocked that Naughty Dog might be working on it because there were a lot of rumors that another studio was going to actually be working on that. I think it was maybe even Bend because they had kind of been trusted with Golden Abyss before. But I mean, I think it's got potential. I don't think it's incorrect. And the big thing that supports it is one of the creative directors on some of their other games. On Lost Legacy, which is another Uncharted game, it's like a spinoff. He posted a photo just of a cannon in Trinidad and Tobago, and so it's just like, why are you posting that? And all his caption said was research, and so that aesthetic fits Uncharted far more than the last stuff. If you think about it. So, but yeah, we'll see. It's one of those things. It's Naughty Dog takes so long to get games out right now. It's like hard to know when to start getting hyped for their stuff.
Yeah, and to have that many projects in the oven, especially, that's Well, we'll just have to see. Next item is kind of funny. So a U.S. patent office essentially striking down Nintendo's battle summoning character system, which is just hilarious. So at one point the patent had been granted, and then now they're potentially revoking it. Is that right?
That's what I understand. So I love Nintendo, but also fuck Nintendo is like honestly how I feel sometimes, because what a stupid thing to try and get a patent on when you have games that predate Pokemon, right?
Right. No, absolutely. It shouldn't have never been granted. It was like crazy that they applied, that it was granted in the first place. It is insane.
Because they presented it in such a broad way, like capturing creatures and summoning them to fight or to do shit. It's like
not even like in a ball. Like,
just not even a ball. No, just the idea of summoning creatures in a video game.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What ended up happening with Pal World? Like, wasn't there a lawsuit or something there?
Yeah, that's what I was excited to talk about, because they got sued on a different basis. Because there was a lot going on with Pal World, but I know that Pal World at least got sued, or was threatened to be sued on the grounds of throwing a ball and releasing your captured monster.
Okay.
Because they patched the game, and now when you summon your monster, it just like spawns at your side. You don't throw a ball out and it doesn't pop out anymore. I am pretty surprised that's the only thing they got called out on. And
I just love it, though. They were like, okay, we're not getting any more quality Pokemon games, so screw it. We'll just make our own.
Did you guys play Pal World?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Pal World. I say, oh, yeah, like I played for hours. I played 4 or 5 hours with my brother-in-law or something, just enough to fall into like the hype. It was on Game Pass. Or something.
I got it on the hype too. I played like 30 hours, but
not for us. Like we've fallen out of Pokemon, both of us, and everything. But it was
kind of everything I've ever wanted with a Pokemon game. Being able to like
crazy how similar, but also like making essentially internment camps.
Yeah,
putting them to work, the optimized shit was like. And then there was like the one weird crocodile one who like was like lusty against everybody and wanted to like bang human males.
Wait, what?
Elaborate.
It's
a whole thing. I can't elaborate. I didn't fall down the Rule 34.
I don't remember this. You sure you didn't install some weird mods in your game?
Yeah, bro. I don't know about that.
But yeah, I mean, right, capturing things and making them fight for you has been around for like a long time. Maybe not longer than Pokemon, but I think so. Like I think shit like Shin Megami Tensei,
right?
Where you can essentially capture like demons and make them fight for you or transform into them. I know it's not as old as Pokemon, but like Monster Rancher, I think, which was similar. There's just so much stuff.
It's just so generic. Even if it is the first one, they shouldn't be allowed to patent that. That's so silly.
No. So at the same time, Pal World was very unabashedly clear.
Yeah, like, Pal World is too much. Yeah, they're allowed to be mad at Pal World.
Oh, that's funny. All right, well, finally to wrap up our news segment, Matt really wants to talk about the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
So I haven't seen it yet.
I have not either.
That's I guess the bigger shock, right? One, I'm not going to be an opening day at a movie ever. And then two, just finding time to go. But
I thought we were going to the Elden Ring movie.
There's some
as a podcast.
There's some midnight release. We got to be there.
Oh, we'll get a special screening. But apparently it's not as good as the first one. The first one's like, again, if you go into these type of movies thinking you're getting an A24 film or something like that, I mean, that's probably shame on you, right? Though they are nostalgic to our generation, they are still designed to be kids movies for kids of today.
Right.
But apparently it's like just like Nintendo. I use the word Nintendo porn, but I mean just like filled with everything you could ever want it to be filled with. Nintendo Worldline. I mean, there are throwback characters from. Star Fox is in it. There's a character called Wart, who is like the bad guy of Super Mario Bros. 2, which is like the black sheep of the original trilogy. Things of that nature. So, but it's also the highest grossing video game movie ever as of like 2 or 3 days ago, and that's probably been beat. I don't know what the highest
It beat
is.
the Minecraft movie?
I'm sure Minecraft is damn near the top, if not the top one, but it's probably on track too.
Wow.
So, also didn't watch that movie, thank God. So,
Yeah, I never saw that one.
So, we might try to go catch it in theaters, might just wait and watch it when it's out, who knows. It's also one of those I don't really worry about spoilers for.
Yeah, you should be okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it looks like a good time. Illumination studio that's done Despicable Me and the Minions, like they are masters of their craft.
Did you play Super Mario Galaxy? I'm assuming you didn't.
I did not.
Did
Yeah.
you? Okay. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard it's
if you
really
wanted
good.
to.
I got it set up on an emulator. It's kind of weird because it's on the Wii, but I was able to get
That
it.
sounds weird.
I actually got it working pretty well on my little flip device. But it's very fun so far. But I haven't beaten it. I was just curious going into the movie if you had already seen or if you'd played the game or not. I'm sure it doesn't matter. I'm sure it's fine either way.
Yeah. Star Fox isn't in the Galaxy game, so there's already that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that would be rather strange if it was.
Just doing barrel rolls behind the background.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for the news. So let's just jump into what are we playing and what are we hyped for? Ryan, how about you?
Okay, let's see. On what I've been playing, I've had a big breakthrough with one of my friends. I've been trying to convince him to play Stardew Valley for a long time.
Oh, that guy.
And I finally got him to break down and try it because he ran out of his backlog, or at least I guess stuff he was excited for. And he got it on his own, and he texted me the next day, and he was like, "This game's amazing. You got to get in here with me and work on the farm with me." So, I was on that immediately. I had to get on the farm. So I've been playing.
Y'all got that domestic partnership going
Oh,
on?
yeah. It was
Let's
separate
go.
cabins. But we are getting after it. We've played like 2 or 3 nights this week. It's been pretty fun. It's pretty nostalgic for me because I haven't played through it in a few years. But still playing a little more Rogue Legacy 2. I was telling you guys before. I beat another boss. Nothing super notable there. It's very fun. I loved Rogue Legacy 1. It was the first game I platinumed, so I have a bit of a history with the franchise of like it's kind of holds a special place for me. So I was excited to be circling back on that. And then my brother, I was talking to him one night about 4 or 5 days ago, and he convinced me to buy Marathon and try it with him. So I've actually got a little bit of game time with it now. I'm not the biggest fan. It's okay. It's like the time to kill is very, very low. It's very fast, like how fast you are killed and can kill. In my case, just how fast I was killed.
So it's a lot faster than like Arc Raiders.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel like it compares as a whole? Because that's something we played together a little bit.
Arc Raiders. I think, I don't know. I personally, so far, I like Arc Raiders more. But I was kind of being led around, by my brother.
Sure.
He had all his missions he was trying to do with, so I don't know. The map, it was cool that it was the first map. I've only played the first 2, but the first one was kind of smaller, felt a little more like intimate. You were like running into more players. It almost felt kind of,
So
smaller
maybe you're
than the
like
Arc Raiders map.
more incentivized to fight each other, whereas in Arc Raiders, I
yeah, I
feel like
would
you could
say
kind of
so.
just chill a little
So
bit.
I will say that's the big difference. In Arc Raiders, it was like maybe there was a 75% chance you were just going to chill with everybody you ran
Yeah.
into. In Marathon, it's like 95% chance you're going to shoot on sight because
Well, that's
they're going
fun.
to shoot you. It's much more. There's like no chill. Everybody's like trying to.
So people
like,
don't like, hey, you guys want to try to
No,
evacuate together?
No. In my experience,
No.
and my brother's played like 30 hours, so just going off his instincts, we would be like looting. He'd be like, "I heard a door. We gotta go. Like we gotta look over here." Like they're
Paranoia.
yeah. So I think people were pretty aggressive on the whole. But yes, that has been cool. I was excited to get a chance to get hands on with it. And then I've been playing a little bit of Fortnite with some people, just kind of normal, but that's about it for me. So I guess I'll pass it off to Matt and see what he's been playing.
So I've been playing setup for a podcast most of my free time. So, but
joke.
no, I'm still doing it.
You joke, but there's so many simulator games. There's like games, TCG, Game Store Simulator, blah blah. So podcast simulator.
Okay,
it's coming.
So to joke, because it's just quick, pick it up. I did reinstall Power Washing Simulator, and I had bought the SpongeBob and like the Final Fantasy DLC for 7. So I sprayed off SpongeBob's pineapple and cleaned like one of the motorcycle from Final Fantasy 7 off. One night.
Cool.
And then I'm still hopping in and out of Returnal,
Nice.
pretty hardcore because with Saros right around the corner, right at the end of the month. So. And then because I've also been setting up my stream setup, I've got my original Nintendo set up, and I've been hopping in and out of Super Mario Bros. 3.
I'm sorry. You're into Power Washing Simulator. How did I not know this? So tell me what you like about it.
Power washing water go psh, brain go brr.
All right.
It's just I did like how goofy it got with like the power washing guy being like the savior of the freaking planet at the end of the campaign of the main game.
I have not heard that.
haven't
So I
played
didn't know
it.
that was a
Like,
thing.
yeah, it's got like a campaign to it and stuff, but it's just
Wow.
like soothing to just like clean the nice clean lines.
Yeah, I see
and
the
get
appeal.
everything.
Are you a Power Wash Simulator hater, Gavin? It sounds
I'm
like
just
you're
always
coming
been.
with some
I've always,
heat.
I try not to be too hateful, but yeah, I've always been a little skeptical. I did watch my buddy stream a lot of like truck driving simulator, and that was
Hell
hilarious.
yeah.
But that's just because we were clowning on him and how he was driving the whole time. Like the thought of like just coming home and like clocking into another shift is something that just doesn't really work for me.
Well, I don't power wash for work.
Yeah, I could see it.
That
No,
would
if
be
you were a truck, I don't know. I feel like I've heard truck drivers come home and they love the truck driver simulator, but
bet they
I could be
do.
wrong.
So
But I could see the appeal of the power wash. It'd be very satisfying seeing by the
Yeah.
end like it all coming together.
yeah,
But-
it's just a throw it on thing because like even though Returnal is throw it on, die, repeat kind of situation, if you actually are like getting through levels and stuff like that, it's pretty long runs and whatnot.
Right.
So, and I guess as far as from a hype perspective, right, I'm super hyped for Saros. I actually kind of was interested, but didn't have high. Wasn't hyped. I always knew it would live up to expectations or whatever because they've got a pretty good pedigree. Housemarque does, but as it's gotten closer, I've not really watched more about it. I'm just excited to be back in one of their worlds, and the Returnal gameplay is like. I have my Venn diagram, right, of like gameplay, graphics, and story that I really stick to, and I lean far more into the story, but there is the sweet spot where they all wrap up. Now, Returnal's really low on the story. It's very obtuse, and you have to do some extra digging similar to like a Souls game. But my God, the gameplay, the way she moves, her run, the guns, the floatiness of the jump, and how there's a biome that's underwater, and that's extra floaty, and you have to be careful of that. And I do like what the DualSense does with that. Like you feel all the rain droplets hitting the parts of the controller. And
Oh, I didn't know that.
even the
That's cool.
shitty guns feel good. They just, they're not for my play style
right.
type of situation. And so that game, like, there's just something so satisfying about just moving around in that world, even if you get your teeth kicked into me. So that's
Yes.
that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if there's anything major I'm hyped for. I know, like, Starfield's out on PlayStation, but I did play it on Xbox, so I've got no super big desire to jump back in anytime soon on that. So, but Gavin, what say ye?
I've been sort of easing my way through the Final Fantasy VII remake still a little bit, so got another chapter down since the last time we talked. So every time I think, you know what, I feel like maybe I've seen everything this has to offer, there'll be a cutscene with Tifa in it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm in. So I've been enjoying that. Last night I booted up Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart. I played through like the prologue, I guess, which was pretty fun. I'd always heard it was like a cool kind of tech demo of the PS5, and it got like PS5 Pro patches and stuff too. So that was fun. I hadn't played any of those games since I was a kid when I played like Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal, and so it was a nice little piece of nostalgic throwback.
Nice.
What about you guys? Have you played the Ratchet and Clank series at all?
Oh yeah,
No, not really. Not for me. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. I was pretty much there from day one growing up.
Oh, nice.
I mean, not really because I didn't have a PlayStation 2 at launch, but yada yada yada. I've played them extensively. I did buy Rift Apart at like launch and everything. Kind of deal. Was pretty hyped up for it and enjoyed it. There's fun games.
Yeah.
Something about them.
That was it's PlayStation exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, Gavin. I was also not a PlayStation kid growing up. I had all Xbox stuff, so I didn't really get exposed to it. Besides, like I think I saw it at my cousin's. I would play it a little bit, so I didn't have much fondness for the series when it came back out, and had the new entries. So I've kind of missed it, but that's fun. I've heard they're fun games. The remakes are done well, or not remakes. The new games are done well.
Yeah, there's something about just the fact that it's a children's game. It's like I'm not so stressed out about the idea of picking it up. It's like you're talking about, well, technically I could play Returnal for a short period of time, but there's something about the activation energy there that says like I'm really going to have to focus and dial in. But like I know that I can beat a children's game. You know what I mean?
Well,
so it's got that going for it.
That's true.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see how it goes.
I mean, to that exact point, a buddy of mine who's like a huge Souls and Elder Scrolls fan and this, that, and the other, he like keeps the Crash Bandicoot collection that came out several years ago and the Spyro collections installed, and like we'll just like play those when he has a little bit of free time, just because they're just like easy brain off, you know, unless you're trying to do like the speed runs and Crash, and then it becomes like nightmare fuel. But so I get that point for sure.
Yeah, and then as far as hyped, there's not a whole lot on my radar except for Saros right now. I am so excited. Just the fact that this one's going to be a little bit more accessible to an old man like me, at least supposedly. We'll see how the reviews are, but man, I can't wait. You guys...
Is it supposed to be more accessible?
I think it actually has kind of like proper rogue light progression in the sense that you really can get stronger between runs and you can unlock new... I think... The first game, I only like cleared the first biome, but I think what you maybe get like some, like there's like some fixed pieces of gear you get, but you don't really gain power between runs.
No, yeah, you essentially at the end of every biome, I think a couple have two, you get like a new upgrade, like a grappling hook or the melee weapon.
That's what it was.
And stuff like that, but it doesn't do anything for like your health, you know, or how many, you know, all that type of stuff, your damage resistance, those types of things. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot of modifiers you can like set to like I think limit damage on enemies too if you're struggling, just that kind of stuff to make it more approachable. So
I like when they include that, but I personally honestly have a hard time enabling that. Like I feel like I'm ruining the experience for myself, even though it may help me. It may actually help me engage with the content, you know, but I do appreciate that they're added in this case. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll end up trying them out in this game.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe my only disappointment is so far I don't think they've announced any co-op, and I don't know if they've been directly asked, but like the first game, or I guess it's not technically a sequel, but the spiritual successor in Returnal, there was a co-op mode that got added post-launch, right?
Yeah,
I played a little bit of that, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope that Saros gets something similar.
It was a year, it might have been even 2
years
a while later.
After.
They added that, and then they added the tower. It's like a 100-floor tower you like fight through with that. Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would launch Saros with the co-op piece, especially because it does look like you have a crew, right? Some of the cutscenes have shown like him talking to like a crew of the same type of expeditioners or whatever they are that are like trapped there. So you would think there would be that, but who knows? Maybe they just haven't revealed it yet and it's there, or they're holding on to it for later.
Could be. All right, well, let's move into our sort of special segment of the week. So to tee us off here, we've got Ryan.
All right, I'm going to take over. I've got actually 2 segments this week, starting out with big aspirations for the podcast. So I'm going to try to move quick so that I don't take too long. The first one is kind of short, more experimental. I want to see how it goes, see if it's fun and like how it can be adapted in the future possibly. But I put it in our session notes and everything. I called it Rage Quit Reviews as our first segment. So how it's going to work is there's going to be multiple rounds, and I'm going to read a few reviews for a game. They're all negative reviews from Steam.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to try to guess what game it relates to.
Yes.
And I'm going to have 3 reviews for each game. If you get it with just the first review, I'm going to give you 3 points.
Okay.
And then minus 1 point for each additional clue I have to give you.
Okay.
Okay.
You said 3 reviews for. Wait, you're saying?
So I'm going to start. I'm going to give you the first review, and if you get it on that one, it's 3 points.
I see.
And then I'm going to get. If you don't,
Gotcha.
I'll give you the second, and it's only worth 2 points.
What
and
are
so on.
we got anything to go off of like the type of game you would have picked?
So I'm not hitting you with any like deep cut heaters. These are all like pretty well known. I'm not really throwing you any surprises here, any tricks. So
Okay.
these are in the pop culture. They're in the zeitgeist.
Oh, okay.
You're not
Lay it on
throwing
me.
your freaking Project Zomboid at me.
Correct. I'm not hitting you with anything crazy, especially because this is the experimental section. But all right. So to start, our first negative review, and I'm starting out kind of vague intentionally because I really don't know how hard to be here. So this first one's kind of hard, I feel like. Too monotone, too easy. I am bored after first 4 hours. Thoughts?
Expedition 33.
No.
Oh.
Bored after.
I was going to give you one guess per clue.
Said
too.
too monotone, too easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's go with. How about Starfield?
Not Starfield. All right. Clue number 2. We ready?
Yep.
Nice game ruined by woke propaganda!
Ooh.
Exclamation mark.
Oh no.
Of course, my head goes to Last of Us.
Oh no.
But,
The Last of Us Part 2. Like
Yeah.
that's
It's not The
fair,
Last of Us
no.
Part 2. Good
yeah.
guess though.
Oh, okay.
what other game was on blast for that recently?
Like everything.
It was just like how
Every-
dare there be a female who's not
Yeah.
skimpily clad, and
Give me titties or give me dick.
I would say how about Horizon?
Not Horizon. Okay.
All right.
So
That was a good one. That was a good guess.
I'll just give you this clue. More like the Crashed of Us terrible PC port.
Matt did guess the last.
He
of
guessed
Us.
part 2.
Oh, the first
So
one.
yeah, so I
It
feel
was the first one.
Yeah, it is the first
Somebody called the
one.
first game
The
woke.
first one got called what?
I know. It might. I think probably retroactively, right? They probably went back and
Probably
they were
didn't
like,
even
ruined
know
the
what they
whole
were- yeah.
series.
Man.
I think I'll
What?
give Matt the 1 point for
what
that.
what a neck beard to go and say the first one's the woke one.
I know.
Oh, when it came to PC, it had the Left Behind DLC.
Ooh, I will say it was the
and
PC version,
and
right.
That immediately, by the time reviews were coming out, Ellie does kisses with another girl. It's revealed.
Oh, in The Last of Us 1?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
there it is.
In the DLC, she
So I
reveals
felt,
that
I
she's
felt
gay.
bad not giving it to you when you
Right,
said part
okay.
2. I didn't know what to do. I was
It's fair. No, I mean, it's fair. They are two different games.
All right.
Because the second one is woke. No, I'm kidding.
So,
God damn it.
all right, next clue.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
So I've got sorry, it's not for me. It's very confusing. Not knowing where to go and what to do. Needs more polish and more quality of life additions.
Souls game. If I'm getting partial credit now, I'll just say the franchise. But
No partial
if
credit.
I've got to lock in on one of them, I'm just gonna go. It wouldn't be DS3 because that one's pretty linear.
Polished and
Let's go.
needs more polish.
Needs more polish. Or let's see. Needs more polish and more quality of life additions.
Needs more polish. I'm not gonna guess Bloodborne because you're probably getting this from Steam.
These are all from Steam. Yes.
I'll just say Dark Souls.
Not Dark Souls.
I mean, the one days, I don't know, Elden Ring.
It is Elden Ring. Okay.
I was like,
They already chutified that game enough. What are you talking about?
Well, I was excited to read this second review because I'm going to go ahead.
yeah, please do.
So it says, if this game ended at about the halfway mark, it would be quite fantastic. Unfortunately, there's a whole other half of the game that is almost entirely trash and makes you genuinely wonder what people get out of this game. That person has 220 hours in Elden Ring, so I think he did enjoy it.
Did he just get lost?
Almost
in
enough
the-
for one playthrough.
Get lost in the lake of rot. Where do I go? There's blood and rot everywhere.
I hate all this premium content. Make it in.
All right, so next I've got these attacks should not do that much damage.
Okay.
Every game ever when you're mad. Oh, man. These attacks should not do that much damage. I don't know, man. I got nothing off of that.
That's cool. It's pretty vague. I
wanna
really didn't know the
Expedition
balancing.
again because I do know
I'll
that
say
was like
I'll say
You can
Hollow
guess
Knight
Expedition.
or sorry, Silk Song.
Ooh.
Okay, not Silk Song, not Expedition. All right, next. Cool game if you like to lose 2 hours at a time of your time because your decisions never matter at all.
Ooh. Your decisions don't matter and the attacks do too much damage.
Oh man, this is a tough game.
I may have I tried to intentionally be more obtuse with them so that it was harder because I felt like it was too easy when I was reading them.
Your decisions don't matter. I'm trying to think of games with like decisions, I guess. I don't have anything for this.
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna go Lies of P.
Not Lies of P.
Ooh, that's
You do
cool.
make some. You
Yeah,
decide
you
when to lie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you calling pass?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the pass. I got.
All right, no worries. Last review. I don't get the hype for this one. It's just a card game with artwork that looks like something your friend drew in middle school.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is that? Is it Slay the Spire 2?
So the first one was these attacks do too much damage. The second one was
Cool game if you like to lose 2 hours of your time because your decisions never matter at all.
okay, and then the final review was
Don't get the hype. It's just a card game with artwork that looks like something your friend drew in middle school.
yeah. I mean, I guess it has to be Slay the Spire too because they haven't finished
not
the
Balatro,
artwork.
I
It
hope.
can't be Balatro.
It's Slay the Spire 1.
Oh, okay.
But same thing. I'm almost thinking the 2 versus the 1 has to be cut in the future. Okay.
That's a good game though. That's not bad by any means. It's actually pretty thought provoking because, like you said, I bet you're like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. When you were like knew the game, you were looking.
Yeah,
at
when I was reading these, I was
I
like,
was
they're
like,
gonna get everyone on the
what the
first.
fuck
on
is
the
that?
first
We'll
one.
see when you're in the hot seat next week how,
I know,
how easy
yeah.
it is.
I'm teeing up for some
I'm
pain.
gonna some obscure.
This
ass.
is a game.
Yeah.
That's my review.
I have one more, and the first clue is a little too hard. I like the soundtrack. That's about it. So, what games have a good soundtrack is really all you got on
Could
that.
be any Souls game. I could see somebody saying that.
Well, that's
Could be Expedition too.
I hate putting this on record, but I feel that way to some extent about Hollow Knight, so I'll just say Hollow Knight.
Okay, it's not Hollow Knight. What you got, Matt?
The Dark Souls 1.
Not Dark Souls 1. All right, the ending of the storyline is really bad. Makes you regret playing this game.
You know, this storyline is really bad. Makes you regret playing this game. The Last of Us Part 2.
Not The Last of Us Part 2.
Mass
All right.
Effect 3.
That was actually
Dang, it's not. All right, this is going to be a speed round. First person to chime in. I hate this game and I hate France.
Oh,
Expedition
33.
Expedition 33 to Matt. Matt is our grand champion.
I almost said it. I was like, I can't guess.
You know, you
Expedition 33.
second guessed yourself.
I've just seen so many people like retroactively now trying to piss on that game a bit more because
I hate this game and I hate France.
Sacre bleu. All right, sick.
that was good. I liked that.
Yeah, good
I like that. That went pretty well. Again, when I was reading these, I was like really stretching because I thought it was going to be so easy. But next week it'll be my problem, I guess, when we swap hosts. All right, my other section. It's not a game so much as a discussion point, and we've kind of talked about it in person before, so I'm hoping it's easy to kind of jump in and remember what yours is. But I was hoping, since this is the first episode of the podcast, we could give our 4 Mount Rushmore heads of gaming that kind of represent you as a gamer so that we can kind of put on the podcast what kind of games we play, what kind of gamers we are, and that gives a better perspective going forward. So I can go through my list. I figured the format for this, I would just go through each one, I'd list it, and I'd give a little description of why it kind of is representative for me, and we'll talk it out. But I guess starting out on mine, we just got the Rage Quit review guessing game, Elden Ring. I feel like I didn't grow up playing the Dark Souls games. I played them all once I was older, so I don't really hold any particular, I guess, any of them fonder than the others. And I feel like Elden Ring was a great culmination of everything those games have to offer. The open world was great. I don't know that it like needed it necessarily, but I think the systems at play and like the scope of it really felt like an adventure the whole time I was playing it. So Elden Ring's first for me. And then second, I struggled on this one, but I went with Divinity Original Sin 2. I was going to list Baldur's Gate 3, but I think Divinity actually sums up more about what I like about these CRPG games that I play with my buddy, and I've put so many hours into them. I really enjoy Divinity 1, Divinity 2, Baldur's Gate 3. All of these games offer multiplayer and like really in-depth adventures with a lot of customization, some great power systems. And I think they're really representative of the kind of games I enjoy.
What would you say you liked more about Divinity Original Sin 2 as opposed to Baldur's Gate?
So it's tough because I almost think I like Baldur's Gate more, but I think Divinity is more encompassing. Because if I say Baldur's Gate, it's like, I guess when Baldur's Gate came out, it was surprising to me because nobody had ever heard of Divinity when I was trying to talk to people about it. And then as Baldur's Gate approached, everybody was so hyped and excited because it was D&D based and it was Baldur's Gate IP, which were big games previously, and I had no experience with either of those at the time, whereas I was a Larian Studios fanboy, you know.
Before it was cool.
That's kind of where my head's at with putting it on the Mount Rushmore. It's like, I'm here for that type of game made by Larian Studios, you know. That is my jam.
That's fair.
So next up, I have Stardew Valley listed on here.
Yeah, Three of your four as of right now wouldn't be even in my top 50 games.
That's nuts.
I know they are good games.
You wouldn't put Elden Ring in your top 50?
Elden Ring should be in the top 50.
Damn.
Oh, wait, that's right. You did have Elden Ring.
Okay.
Never mind. Yeah,
I was about to say, we might have to pump the brakes on this.
Yeah, no, you guys caught me on that. Yeah, caught me slipping. Sorry.
Stardew Valley, I love a good cozy game. I love a crafter. I kind of use this as encompassing things like Valheim and like survival crafting as well. I know Stardew doesn't have survival, but it kind of is in the same adjacent genre, so it's doing double duty on my Mount Rushmore for that.
Okay. 4 is such a hard number instead of 5.
I know.
I'm struggling. We're thinking through
4 is tough.
We'll do top 10s.
Again, and honestly, we can always revamp later, do another Mount Rushmore. I told you guys what the segment would be right before we started recording. I wanted to surprise you, which would have been even worse, you know, a total on the spot, but
I like it. It's just getting a little bit of ourselves kind of
right.
You know,
I'm not trying.
And,
what I mean to say is I don't want it to be set in stone. You know.
Yeah.
It's
well,
casual.
it is a Mount Rushmore statue, so it's kind
too,
of
right?
in stone.
Who knows?
It's kind of in
Zeros
stone.
might take number 1 after a couple of weeks. You know?
So my final Mount Rushmore game is going to be controversial, I feel like. But
hit me.
Just with you guys' tastes, I'm going to put Fortnite on there, I believe. Because I just love a casual social multiplayer. Fortnite's like a recurring TV show where the seasons change.
And I don't do it anymore.
And you all get together with your buddies and you get to see what's changed in the new season. Oh, it's so... And so, like, this kind of encompasses, like, Rocket League, Counter-Strike. Like, the social game for me, like, Fortnite is the epitome, but I love some social multiplayer.
I have a fucking migraine.
All right.
I think I've played, like, 2 or so rounds of Fortnite, and I just, like, it's not for me. I remember following it when, like, the Save the World before the Battle Royale stuff was even a thing. I was super interested in it from, like, a wave defense thing with buddies, but...
Well, no, hold on. We need to all get together and play Fortnite. That needs to be our homework for next... Because playing it with friends really is...
But
that's the whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
Skins. I'm gonna have... Well, I do have Alan Wake skins.
I have Alan Wake.
From buying it, so I can at least be...
There you go.
The champion of life.
We need to get on there and play it, because I keep converting people in my life. Recently, 2 more of my friends who thought Fortnite was super lame, and obviously it is kind of lame, but it's such a good casual game. If you're looking for like something that's just engaging enough while you still have conversations and good times.
Our podcast is based on the fact that we have backlogs we got to try to get to. I don't have time for casual. I've got to rip through these backlog games.
Yeah. It's going to keep growing for me because I'm going to keep playing Fortnite. You can't stop.
I like to think that a picture of Mount Rushmore, I can kind of picture a caricature for all of those, except for I think the llama for Fortnite up there.
I like the llama. That's a good iconography. Yeah.
That, so.
All right. Well, I'll pass the torch over to I guess Gavin.
Oh, okay. So it's hard to think about. Were yours ordered, or were they just kind of
No,
just for?
yeah. So
all right.
I think that's it with the Mount Rushmore. You can't, you don't have to order.
We won't finalize any kind of definitive order. Nope. But that being said, number one for me will always be Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, the OG. Even though I played it later, I actually played. I think that my order was Bloodborne, then DS3, then DS1. So I've got no nostalgia glasses on. Man, what can I say about Dark Souls that hasn't already been said? I love the oppressive atmosphere of how just self-reliant you have to be, of coming up against something that feels insurmountable and then getting through it. That's just that game, kind of that series, sort of shaped my taste sort of as a gamer now. So that's kind of like, a lot of people will say, oh, Souls games ruin gaming for me. I don't think that's quite the case for me, but it is sort of the standard to which I hold everything else.
Yeah, it's hard to go back after you've experienced that rush of beating a boss that you're throwing yourself against over and over again. It is like nothing like it.
I completely understand how that could be. The Dark Souls 1's not near my top From Software game. Yeah. But I get it at the same time. And I've replayed through it probably 4 or so times and things of that nature. So, and I can only imagine what it was like to be a person that fell into that world and got its hooks in them back then.
Oh yeah.
I could also see all three of us struggling from the perspective of how crappy it did run back in the day, and we all experienced it a little bit later after.
Right. I didn't play the OG.
I did play the OG, but only enough
on
to
PC or
no. Back on way back on the Xbox or whatever, Xbox 360, whatever it first came out on. Yeah. My only experience though was hearing that the game was super hard, turning left and going into the graveyard when you're not supposed to, and being like, I guess it is really hard, and giving up.
R.I.P. me. Yeah, it was years later, but I had Grandpa Gamer approach, and I was like, oh, that company From Software? Nope, not touching that. By this point, that had even happened with Demon Souls. By that point, I was already like, nah, not with these guys, because I had messed with the Kingsfield games on PS1, and still to this day, they confused the shit out of me. And then they've had plenty of games on PS2 too that were
interesting. I had no exposure to them before. Yeah.
All right, what else is on the list? I'm gonna have to put Fallout New Vegas on there.
Nice. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
When I started playing those games, it was probably early high school, and it was sort of my introduction to RPGs and just the amount of choice that you get in New Vegas. Like I remember doing you basically decide the fate of the whole area of New Vegas, right? If you do the Yes Man quest, and you get to go to all the factions and basically decide how you want the game to go, and then at the end you get the cutscene where you're kind of judged for all of your decisions. I remember at the time it was just like, man, never had that level of agency in a game before. So that one's on there for me. I'll probably have to put Halo Combat Evolved. Just because, I still enjoy shooters. I'm not crazy into them, and certainly not in a competitive sense or anything. But just the nostalgia of playing that game with my dad on the original Xbox, and then just over the years getting hyped for new Halo games, playing with buddies in high school, and doing all these crazy custom games and stuff that we would make and play through Forge. And that game, the Halo franchise will always have especially the original trilogy. We don't really talk about the stuff afterwards. That always have a special place in my heart.
So I guess on New Vegas, Masterpiece, I am a 3 over New Vegas guy, but I played it first, right?
Yeah. 3's great.
At the same time, I love New Vegas as well.
Yeah. 3's great. I played 3 first as well, but I'm a New Vegas guy. The faction system and everything's just too good.
That's fair. I mean, I get it. I think I don't know. I don't know if it would be 50-50 split fan base. I feel like I do run into a bit more people that are New Vegas people. I know from a gameplay perspective, right? Yeah, iron sights and just some of that stuff's a lot better quality of life. And then lots of LAN parties, right, with Halo. So
oh my God,
I totally get it from that perspective too.
Yeah, huge. I loved the original trilogy as well. I didn't get into anything after it. I did like the multiplayer. I liked Reach. Reach came out after 3.
Yeah, Reach should come out. Reach was
but yeah,
good.
also big Halo fan too. So
yeah. And then for my final spot, somewhat of a wild card, I'm going to go with Slay the Spire, the original, even though I have already played the shit out of Early Access Slay the Spire 2. That game introduced me to roguelites, I think, is the proper term, and deck builders, and it was just like the perfect combination of things that I love in games. Like, you have a bit of challenge, especially if you ascension climb. You have like meaningful decision making as soon as you boot up the game, and the variance that you experience between runs just makes it kind of infinitely replayable. I've 100% of that game across tons of systems, and just really love that game. So those are my 4.
That's one I'm not touched. I got no opinions on Slay the Spire. So.
I've played a very solid amount, but I'm not a card freak like these guys who get real into. I don't do great with the card deck builder roguelites. I like them. I like Blatra, like Slay the Spire. Just like I think I'm too dumb for them, honestly, because when you start having to make decisions, like my brother's always like, it's more about the cards you take out of your deck than what you put in. You know, you got to be really like making it a lean list. And I'm just too stupid for it, I think. I like drawing new cards and putting them in the deck, and I'm not good at strategizing. I don't know.
I think it's both. I mean, if you're really into deck builders, like, it is often the case that one of the first things you want to do is you want to get the crap out of your deck. Like, I don't know if you guys played Dominion. I played a lot of that. It's like an actual board game that you can play, with real people.
Nice.
But the meta is always how can I get the bad cards out of my deck so I can start drawing everything and going infinite, stuff like that. But yeah, I think you should give it another shot. I thought I saw on Steam that you did pick up Slay the Spire 2.
So, yeah, well, I borrowed it from my Steam family with my brother.
We gotta hop on the co-op on that game.
I would love to. The co-op would be fun. I'm into that. Although and
it is 3 players, so
ooh,
you can carry me because I'm not gonna know what the hell's going on, or invest the time.
But that's enough about me. How about you, Matt? Hit us with your Rushmore of games.
I mean, I'm like stressed over here trying to figure this out.
He's sweating.
I'm sorry, I really wasn't sure.
No, this is this is just a hard question for me because I got like a lot of games that I love so much. So I know we're not doing like number 1 or number order. The non-negotiable always first game for me is Resident Evil 2 OG.
Nice,
baby, 1998. The introduction of Leon into that franchise.
Respect.
Yeah,
man, I love it. I can still go back and play it with tank controls. PS1 and 64 and all of that are like some of the hardest eras to go back to in gaming, but I always make an exception for my boy. Claire's there too. She's nice.
Yeah. Not Leon though.
Seeing that the RPD, and then obviously, I loved getting that we got the remake, and then it's getting more people into the franchise and all that type of stuff. So also kind of unlocked like survival horror for me. Also, the first video game that I beat like 100% completely by myself. I played lots of games before then, like with my grandma, friends, beating it that way, but one that I just like sat down and like it was just Matt doing it alone. So playing it far too young as well, I might add. So
is the remake pretty faithful to the original?
Yeah, there's just some stuff that's changed, but I don't feel like there's anything that's too end of the world that was changed. I think one of the funniest things is like Leon is late getting to Raccoon City in the OG because he had been broken up with and stayed up drinking himself sad in the original, and then they retconned that in the remake in a way that makes his character look better, right? Of like he got a message to not come in from one of the lieutenants.
I always mean to. I love Resident Evil 2 remake so much. It's always kind of on my backlog. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. But I wanna get back around to playing the original just to see the difference. The tank controls and everything.
Yeah, that's fair, right? It's a lot of difference in that many years of technological advancements,
right.
If you will. So, number 2, I'm gonna give to Super Mario Bros. 3 specifically.
Okay.
I do think Super Mario World is the better game. That's usually kind of where that argument falls with a lot of people. Super Mario Bros. 3 is just the very first video game I played, and it was with my grandmother on her original Nintendo, which is one of the many, but one of the main original Nintendo that's like hooked up out in my gaming area. It's the same console, same controller, same cartridge from what that was hers that I like got after she passed years ago. So it's just super sentimental, and that is just there's no argument. There is a great game. Like,
For
it's
sure.
very fun.
Yeah.
Between the power-ups, the way you can just like bypass the whole game, getting secret whistles and only play like 4 levels and then fight the final boss kind of situations.
Wow, I didn't
and
know
stuff like
that.
that. Yeah. And then obviously it's our boy Mario, right? So
Oh yeah.
And I think to your point on that game, the way I'm in understanding the kind of Rushmore concept, and I think you guys too, it's games that we feel like have really defined us. It's not necessarily what is my top 4 games I want to play right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Right,
It
yeah.
just sort of,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
your journey.
So I won't get into the bleakness of it. We'll save that for like my gaming history. But the third game, I'm going to go ahead and give that to my boy Mr. Wake, Alan Wake
Okay.
1.
The first one.
Nice.
Alan Wake 2 is a masterpiece as well. In fact, Alan Wake 1 is not a masterpiece.
Right.
I do like a lot of what it does. I actually like the episodic approach, even though it did release all as one game. It didn't release like weekly or monthly. It just hit at a really important time in life for me and kind of brought me back into gaming really hard. On top of just some of the narrative things that it discusses between, like, you know, Alan's kind of a dickbag character. He's not really a great writer, but he is a famous author in that, you know, book, kind of similar to many authors we see that pump out like, you know, 45 books a year.
Right.
You know, that kind of situation. And then like I guess spoilers for Alan Wake 1, you know, the sacrifice at the end of essentially like riding to where the darkness takes him so that he can save his wife and that type of stuff, ending that game. And then obviously, as far as we knew, Alan was trapped in the dark place and everything all the way until we got the sequel just a couple of years ago. So
Yeah, it
for
was a
over
long
a decade.
time. Right.
Yeah.
I really have always I loved Max Payne 1 and 2, which Remedy had also done. I enjoyed Quantum Break as well, which they did after Alan Wake, you know. So I just enjoy their storytelling. Sam Lake, I think's, you know, he just got that eccentric auteur thing about him that I really enjoy. So, so how many is that?
That's
I think that's 3 for
Three?
you.
Yep.
You got one more.
So I'm really torn. I was going to do a Final Fantasy.
Oh, that would be appropriate.
But I'm going to drop Final Fantasy, and so I'm going to actually round us out with all of us having a From Software game. And
Nice.
It's Bloodborne, isn't
and
it?
I'm going to give it to Bloodborne.
Bloodborne's
Yeah.
a good one. Good pick. Yeah.
I think if anyone's talked to me in the last decade, they've probably heard me bring up Bloodborne in some form or fashion, rather it is just, you know, actually talking about the game and wanting more of it, and at minimum a 60 FPS patch, or
Oh my
you
gosh,
know,
what I wouldn't give.
my crazy obsession with the fact that you can straight up fist a giant pig in that game. It's
Really
so
get to live out your
bicep deep in that
fantasies.
side
oh
there.
funny. You know, I think every friend or anyone who's been expecting a baby, I'll be like, oh, save me a piece of that umbilical cord. You know, like, I loved that world. I had already been into From Software games for a little bit. I actually got back in at Dark Souls 2 shortly after it launched, and then kind of replayed stuff. And then I was hyped Bloodborne at launch. I actually got all the way to Vicar Amelia. Before I died in that game, felt like I was God mode first
That's
playthrough.
Damn, you beat Cleric Beast,
Yeah.
Gascoigne. You were just
Yeah.
wow.
That's insane.
Doesn't mean I'm good, because I've definitely replayed it and then just like got my teeth kicked in by like the werewolf at the beginning or whatever, you know.
Right.
Like, so, but yeah, I just, that world and everything about it is just fascinating to me. And then just the gameplay, the trick weapons.
So cool.
Yeah. I can only hope that they ever do a sequel, or if From Software or whoever, if one day we'll get more Bloodborne. Eventually, one day it will happen. I'm confident in that.
Dude,
Is that like they'll double the amount of trick weapons? Like, I just want more of them.
I hope so. Yeah.
They're just so cool.
Were you about to say something, Gavin?
well, I was just saying, yeah, I would rather have, you know, what was it like? It's like 15 weapons in the whole game. Like it's a pretty small number.
Right.
Yeah, like, that's including like the guns, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
including
it's
all
probably like 30.
But I'd take that over, like, you know, Old Lord's toothpick, straight sword number 17. That's the same
Yeah.
moveset as all the other straight
Yeah.
swords. You know what I mean?
It was a little exhausting in like Elden Ring from
Yeah.
that perspective.
There was a lot of
yeah.
weapons in Elden Ring. Yeah, Bloodborne definitely quality over quantity.
Yeah. So, but that's Rushmore for now.
All right.
Nice.
Subject to change. Okay, so let's bring us into our premiere segment, our featured backlog game of the week. And we figure we'll have one person dive into a game that they've put down for a while, or perhaps they haven't touched, but they're thinking about it. And we'll decide if they should play it or if it should stay there. Matt?
Okay, so yeah, my backlog game is one that, if I wouldn't have told you guys an hour ago, you wouldn't know. It's called Obscure. So released in like 2004 on the PlayStation 2. The very obscure choice for the first episode, but I'm hyped because this is also, if you look up any like top 10 rarest like PlayStation 2 games outside of like dev versions of games potentially, it's always going to hit that list because it's like super low printing, couple $100 all day long kind of situation. 2 days ago I finally won one after chasing it for a while, and it's sitting out on my table right now waiting for me to finally play it.
You won one?
Won the bidding. I still paid too much for a damn PlayStation 2 game in 2026.
Yeah. This was one of the really expensive ones, right?
Yeah, we all got to talk about that. This is supposed to be a happy occasion. So I actually, I'm super big into survival horror. It is a survival horror game, right? There was a sequel called Obscure: The Aftermath. I had it. It's fairly common. You can still get it pretty cheap today. I had it and played it, but I was always like, what's kind of going on? Because it's like a pretty direct sequel situation. And I had no clue, but I also liked it at the same time, right? Even through my confusion. And then by the time I figured this out, it was like already kind of getting rare. And just kind of like chasing growing up and not having money, and even like working little dead-end jobs through college. Like I can't just drop even $100 then, which would have been a much better profit return on investment for me than what it will be now probably. So anyways, I've just always wanted to play it. So essentially you are several students and one of your friends gets kidnapped from your high school. So it's very almost like, I know it, like teen slasher movie is like kind of the premise of it. You play as like, I think there's like four to six different characters. It actually has local co-op. So there's always there's always two characters together, computer control one, and you can swap back and forth on the fly because, like the jock can move like the bookshelf out of the way for the cheerleader to crawl through the tight crawl space or whatever.
Gotcha.
I am sure there's some very dated, like probably sexual innuendos and like misogynistic things in there.
Well, you can count on it.
Right.
Yeah. But things exist in time, and they are what they are to some degree, right? With that type of stuff. But yeah, and then like the friend gets kidnapped, but then I think like it's revealed that like the principal is actually part of this like occult situation, where they're trying to like either kidnap or take over people. The other thing, the funniest part about it is it does tie. Maybe I just got a thing for shining flashlights on shit to kill them. Like the enemies are weak to light, so you have to like shine flashlights on them to hurt them, which is like the main premise of Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2. So so I just never got to, from like a cost and rarity perspective, and then like now I'm gonna finally get to do that, and I'm pretty hyped about it. And it is probably right near the top. If survival horror probably is my top genre of game. Platformer / Metroidvania is being like the close second.
Right.
So. Any thoughts on that? I know it's not a game you guys have heard of. Probably, I don't know how much time you spent with like PS2 and Xbox originals.
A decent amount. Well, I just had two thoughts. One, I'm very happy to hear there's people like you in the world who are buying these collector's edition games to play them and are very excited, and it's like a hype thing, and you've got original hardware and you're about to boot it up. That's super fun. Two, I was just going to ask, like, what's the gameplay look like? Is it like top down, I guess, if it's like an older game like that? Or
it is static camera angles in the rooms.
Okay, so Resident Evil style.
But not like tank controls on the character. Like, you still move the character around the room, but the camera's only like in the corner of this room. It's like looking like a security feed almost.
Okay.
I think some parts go more hovering third person, like if you're moving down a hallway or something like that. So it's kind of a mix of that.
I gotcha. Were you about to say something before I jumped in?
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, or ask. I have more accurately. Was it well received? Is it like a cult classic, or is it like beloved by everybody at that time period, or like?
I think all of those games, Rule of Rose, certain Resident Evil games, -4,
yeah,
all of that stuff fall into, if you give them a review out of 10, they're 6, 8, so they're like the crazy high ones. And then as time went on, the survival horror, like the very niche people into the genre, are like, no, this fucks. Like
right.
And it's definitely not like one of the highest regarded ones, but it's very still considered like you should probably check this out and play these on top of, if you definitely like the cheesy teenager slashery movies, slasher flicks of like that time, and then like the 80s as well. 80s and 90s style, like I Know What You Do Last Summer, Scream, that type of stuff, which I do enjoy. I enjoyed just trash horror movies as well. So, it definitely has always seemed right at my wheelhouse, and that's the way the sequel game that I got to play was as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
You'll have to let us know how it goes. That sounds fun.
Hey man, it's got co-op. I got another controller.
Has it got 3-player co-op?
No, it's just got 2-player.
I would play it.
I feel like you're cheating a little bit, because it seems more like this game is like a white whale for you. It's not really in the backlog in the sense of it's been on my shelf and I've been feeling kind of guilty about it. Well. I don't know. I guess we'll have to allow it, but
takes all types.
That's fair. I've put off purchasing it for far too long. I've had the means to, I guess, for a while now. I've just not, and that's just kind of stupidity to some degree, given how much the prices keep inflating on all the like retro system stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. If I had just bought that game, I'd want to come in and flex it on the first podcast as well.
No, that's fair. I'm curious to see your impression. You'll have to tell us how you like it.
Yeah, but with like life and everything, if I bought it 2 years ago, I probably still would not have touched it yet. Like I still don't know exactly when I'm gonna touch it for sure. I just know it's gonna be pretty soon. It's gonna be probably one of the first things I play the next time I sit down and play the PlayStation 2 for a bit.
I love it. Keeping the retro games alive.
Yeah, you know me.
Well, I think that about does it for our show this week. So, Matt, Ryan, it's always a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you out there to our listeners for tuning in. We'll see you next week on My Buddy's Backlog.
Sweet. Appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks.